The upcoming match features the Portland Trail Blazers against the Orlando Magic. Recent performances paint a stark picture for both teams, with Orlando securing a resounding 30-point victory over Memphis, while Portland suffered a staggering 60-point loss to Miami. Although the Trail Blazers' defeat stands out as an anomaly, they have faced a string of losses, dropping 9 consecutive games by an average margin of 16.7 points. In contrast, the Magic exhibit superior form and are actively vying for playoff berths, making them the favored team to dominate this encounter, akin to their previous triumph over the Grizzlies. However, Portland grapples with persistent injury concerns, particularly among their top scorers, rendering their offense even more vulnerable. With key players like Anthony Simons and Jerami Grant listed as questionable, Portland's already struggling offense faces additional hurdles. Currently ranked 29th in offensive efficiency, the Blazers are set to clash with Orlando's formidable defense, which ranks second in the league. Both teams also exhibit a slower tempo, with Portland and Orlando ranking 17th and 27th, respectively, in pace. Anticipating a defensive showdown, it wouldn't be surprising if Orlando limits Portland to a sub-90 score, potentially leading to a total below the set threshold, a trend observed in 9 of Orlando's last 12 home games. Consequently, the prediction leans towards Orlando Magic covering the spread, while the total points are expected to fall under the mark. The upcoming matchup features the Brooklyn Nets taking on the Indiana Pacers. In their previous encounter 2 weeks ago, the Nets suffered a defeat against the Pacers, setting the stage for a potential revenge opportunity. Additionally, Brooklyn is coming off a challenging loss to the Lakers last night as they strive to secure a spot in the play-in tournament. With a heightened sense of determination, the Nets are poised to keep this game competitive. Notably, before their recent loss to the Pacers, Brooklyn boasted a 5-0 record against the spread as underdogs. Therefore, I anticipate the Nets to cover the spread, particularly with a generous margin of 12.5 points. Examining offensive and defensive averages throughout the season, as well as recent performances over the last 3 games and considering home-away factors, the projected total points for this game stand at 232. Both teams maintain a combined average pace of 102.4 possessions per game, suggesting an increased likelihood of scoring opportunities, which elevates the projected total to 237 points. Furthermore, the Pacers' defense exhibits vulnerabilities that could enable the Nets to surpass their season scoring average, potentially pushing the total score beyond expectations. Hence, I am inclined to take the over at 227.5 points in this matchup. In the forthcoming clash between the Boston Celtics and the Charlotte Hornets, the Celtics, having secured the Eastern Conference crown and home court advantage throughout the playoffs, are likely to treat the remaining games as preparatory sessions for the postseason. While they are expected to emerge victorious against one of the conference's weaker teams, Charlotte's performance may be sufficient to surpass the anticipated spread. Notably, Miles Bridges has showcased impressive statistics, averaging 20.5 points, 7.6 rebounds, and 3.4 assists per game in March, demonstrating his impact on the Hornets' gameplay. However, Boston might encounter challenges in covering the double-digit spread due to potential lapses in effort. Thus, my selection leans towards the Hornets to cover. As the Celtics enter this matchup ranked 18th in pace against the Hornets, Derek White's recent return from a brief absence has bolstered their lineup, contributing significantly amid what marks a career-best season for him. With consistent performances, including scoring at least 17 points in his last 5 games, White's presence adds depth to the Celtics' offense, led by Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Despite his secondary role, White's contributions remain integral to Boston's success. Considering these factors, opting for the over seems reasonable in this matchup. Set to unfold at the Little Caesars Arena on Monday night, an NBA showdown awaits between the Memphis Grizzlies and the Detroit Pistons. Throughout the season, the Grizzlies have been plagued by injuries, leading them to languish at the bottom of the league in offensive efficiency. Their recent performance against Orlando showcased their struggles, as they faced a daunting 20-point deficit after the first quarter and managed only a meager 36% shooting from the field in a lopsided 118-88 road loss. Meanwhile, the Pistons continue to miss the services of Quentin Grimes, who remains sidelined due to a knee injury sustained back in January, ruling him out for the remainder of the season. Both teams find themselves among the bottom 4 in offensive efficiency, hinting at a defensive-minded affair that could favor the under. However, the more compelling choice lies in favor of the Pistons to secure victory on their home court. With a favorable spread of 2.5 points, Detroit possesses the edge, particularly in light of Memphis' injury woes and offensive struggles. Therefore, my selection is inclined towards the Detroit Pistons to cover the spread and emerge triumphant in this matchup. In the upcoming matchup between the Atlanta Hawks and the Chicago Bulls, the Hawks have been showcasing strong basketball recently. However, they have struggled against the Bulls this season. DeMar DeRozan in particular has been a dominant force against the Hawks, leading the Bulls to a high-scoring performance of 136 points in their last encounter. Chicago's prowess in controlling the boards and asserting dominance in the paint has left the Hawks with no effective response. With the Hawks dealing with injuries, the Bulls are poised for another significant offensive display, thus making them the favorable pick to cover the spread at home. Throughout the season, the Hawks have faced defensive challenges, and the Bulls have capitalized on this vulnerability by averaging 127 points per game against them. Despite the Bulls not playing at a high pace, they excel in exploiting mismatches and asserting dominance in the paint. On the other hand, the Hawks have showcased impressive offensive firepower, even managing to score 123 points against one of the NBA's top defensive teams. With players like Murray and Bogdanović performing at a high level, the Hawks are expected to maintain their offensive output. Therefore, the total points are likely to surpass 223, making the over a favorable choice. In the upcoming clash between the Phoenix Suns and the New Orleans Pelicans, the Suns hold the advantage after securing a 14-point victory on the road in their previous encounter this season, despite being underdogs with a 2.5 spread. Currently, Phoenix is in a fierce battle to climb above the play-in line, while New Orleans aims to maintain their position above it. However, the Pelicans face a significant setback with the absence of Brandon Ingram, their second leading scorer and top distributor, whose contribution is pivotal to their gameplay. The Suns show no signs of relenting as they push through a demanding schedule, indicating their determination to secure victories. With Kevin Durant leading the charge, Phoenix has the opportunity to close out a 5-game road stretch on a positive note, further motivating them to seize this win. Their recent track record against New Orleans, boasting a 5-2 record both straight up and against the spread ATS in the last 7 games, strengthens their position as favorites. Considering their previous meeting in January, where they totaled 232 points but fell under a 238-point total, it's evident that both teams have the potential to limit scoring opportunities, especially with Ingram sidelined. Furthermore, both teams exhibit average pace, ranking 15th and 16th in the league, respectively. Despite fatigue from travel for Phoenix and a home stretch for New Orleans, offensive production has been inconsistent for both sides, with recent games seeing low-scoring outputs. With these factors in mind, the under appears to be a prudent choice, given the likelihood of subdued offensive performances from both teams. Therefore, the recommendation leans towards selecting the under for this matchup.